My name is Brunelda Rivera, and right now I'm a cook at Concerns for Independent Living. Um, the reason why I'm a part of this video is because I've learned a little bit more about my rights, and I want to reach out to other parents that don't know their rights. You can do it. You're able to. If you're a true fighter, then you can do this. You can get your children back.
As an incarcerated parent with child in foster care, you have rights. You also have responsibilities. If you don't plan for your child and maintain regular contact with your child and your caseworker, your parental rights may be terminated. You can help avoid this by knowing your rights and meeting your responsibilities. This law also applies to incarcerated fathers. It's very important for you to keep detailed records about every time you contact or attempt to contact your child, your caseworker, your attorney, and the judge in your case. You should also keep a copy of all the papers you get about your case. You have the right to know why your child is in foster care and what you need to do to reunify with your child. Be sure that you know where your child is in the foster care system, and if you don't know, ask. You have the right to work with the foster care agency to identify who you would like your child to live with. Talk to your caseworker about a family member or a friend who can take care of your child. You also have the right to know who your foster care caseworker is and how to contact your caseworker and the supervisor. Here's how you can find out this information. If you are not sure if your child is in foster care, you can contact the ACS Office of Advocacy, or you can call CHIP, the Children of Incarcerated Parents Program. Both of those programs will find out if your child is in foster care and tell you where your child is and give you the phone number of the caseworker. If your caseworker changes, you have a right to be notified of this change and given the new contact information. Stay in regular contact with the foster care agency by phone and by letter. Keep a record of all calls that you made to your caseworker and what you call the caseworker about, even if you only leave a message or cannot get through. You have the right to be assigned a lawyer to represent you in family court. If you have not been assigned a lawyer, here's what you should do. You have the right to be informed about your legal rights and responsibility as a parent with a child in foster care. Your caseworker is required to give this information to you. If your caseworker has not given you this information, you should tell your lawyer. The Office of Children and Family Services, OCFS, created some flyers to help inform you about your rights. These flyers may be posted in your facility. You can ask your lawyer and your caseworker for these flyers too. You have the right to know the foster care agency's permanency code for your child and to participate in developing this goal. There are several different goals a child can have. For example, your child's goal can be to reunify with you, to be placed with a relative, to be adopted, or to continue living in foster care. The permanency goal is a very important part of determining whether the foster care agency is working towards reunifying you with your child. You have the right to participate in creating your family service plan and to understand what's in it. This plan includes the permanency goal for your child, the services you need, and steps you must take to be reunified with your children, and what goals you are expected to achieve. If you are having trouble understanding a service plan, tell your caseworker and your lawyer. Under the ASFA Expanded Discretion Law, your service plan must reflect the special challenges facing you and your family because you are separated by prison or drug treatment. You have the right to participate in reviews of your family service plan called service plan reviews. If you can't be there in person, you can participate by telephone or video conference, which can be arranged through your counselor or caseworker. If you are not getting information about when these reviews are, or if you are not being invited to the reviews, tell your lawyer and your caseworker. You have the right to be notified of upcoming family court dates and to be requested to be produced in court. If you cannot be at court for an important reason, for example, you have to see the parole board that day, or being in court will cause you to lose your spot in a required program, tell this to your lawyer, caseworker, or the judge. You can also talk to your lawyer about appearing in court via teleconference or video conference. You have the right to visit with your child at least every 2 weeks, unless the distance between you and your child makes this impossible, or unless the court finds that visits are not in the best interest of your child or orders other arrangements. If distance is the reason you can't have visits every 2 weeks, then you are entitled to in-person visits every month. You can also ask about video teleconferencing as a visiting option. If you have visitation rights, try to have regular visits as much as possible. Ask your caseworker and your lawyer to help you have the visits that you are entitled to. Be sure to also maintain regular communication with your children by mail and by phone. You have the right to be informed about family visiting services that can help you maintain your relationship with your child. You have the right to be kept up to date on your child's health, progress, and development. For example, you have the right to know about your child's emotional health and behavior and your child's progress in school. You also have the right to receive copies of your child's medical reports and report cards. You have the right to receive information about services that can help you address the issues that led to your child's placement in foster care, and that can help you stay connected with your child, like parenting, drug treatment, and family visiting services. If you are in the community, you have the right to receive the services that are preventing your child from returning home to you. You are responsible for notifying your caseworker of your whereabouts. If 6 months goes by and you haven't had contact with your child, your caseworker, or the foster care agency, it can be considered abandonment of your child, which may result in the agency filing a termination against you. You are responsible for showing that you are involved in your child's life and that you are planning for your child's future. This includes things like maintaining contact with your child's school and people providing services for your child, requesting medical information about your child, and maintaining contact with your child's caregiver if you have a relationship with that person. You are responsible for staying in regular contact with the foster care agency. If you do not know your caseworker's name and contact information, you can find out by You are responsible for working with the foster care agency and completing the goals the agency says you need to achieve. These goals should be listed in your family service plan. Document and inform the court, your attorney, and the foster care agency of any barriers to completing your service plan. You are responsible for completing any program your service plan says you are expected to take. You should obtain documentation that says you are participating in the program and give it to your caseworker and attorney. Always keep a copy for yourself. You're responsible for finding a permanent home for your child to live in while you are away and planning for your child upon your release, especially if you will be released in the near future. Foster care is not considered a permanent home. You are responsible for staying informed about your case and upcoming court hearings. Make sure you have your lawyer's name, phone number, and address. We hope that you found the information in this video useful. We also have included a list of additional information and resources at the end of this film. Thank you.
For other mothers that are out there, just put in the footwork. It's not going to take long. You know, it's hard work, but you have to do it if you want your child back in your life. You have to do your parenting. You have to do whatever it takes to get your son back. If that means you have to fight in a good way, then fight in a good way, because you're not the only one, and I'm here as living proof that you can do this.
My words of encouragement would be to, first of all, never give up on yourself. Never, ever give up on yourself. Know that there's always room to grow. Your yesterday was yesterday. Today is a brand new day.
You need to contact a lot of people. You need to contact the worker. You need to contact your lawyer. You need to contact the foster parents. Sometimes you got to suck it up. You need to have a lot of communications with everybody that's in your circle to open these doors that you want open to your kids.
Your family court attorney, make them one of your first calls, and the agency one of your first calls when you're moving from another facility. So you can say, this is where I am now, this is how you reach me. And that will also enable so that your case isn't getting adjourned because nobody knows, nobody knows what facility you were in.
The hardest work is just trying to keep your focus and keeping your cool, because sometimes you just gotta shut up, and that's just the bottom line. You gotta be quiet and know when to be quiet and know when to talk. Be aggressive in a good way. Let them know that you know your rights and that you have people behind you, that are helping you. But at the end of the day, don't curse a caseworker out.
It's important to stress that for an incarcerated parent, despite the many benefits of the new expanded discretion law, the most important advocacy will come from the parent, him or herself. It's very important for the parent to understand what his rights and responsibilities are, to be as actively involved as possible, to be as visible as possible, to reach out to caseworkers, to really take ownership of his case, and to be as well informed as possible about what the law requires. There's no substitute for that kind of self-advocacy.
Stay on the phone, stay on the phone, stay on the phone, write letters. If you have reliable family members, at least one, or a reliable friend, if you know someone in the church, you don't have to have been in the church before you got to be incarcerated, but if you used to go to church or you know someone in the church, that would be a very good source.
There's any way to have your own log where you're saying, on such and such date, I wrote my son a letter. On April 15th, I wrote the agency worker, Miss Mitchell, a letter. And you're going into court and saying, oh, well, I wrote 3 letters in the past 3 months. And the judge is going to be like, well, what days? When did you send them? What address you sent them to? So if you can pull out your little book or little piece of paper that says, well, I sent one on this day and I sent one on this day, that's going to go a long way.
Even if you have a missed call, even if you don't get a letter back from your child, just log it on your book saying I sent the letter on.
Keep records of your phone calls. Keep records of dates that your child didn't appear to the agency for whatever reason.
An incarcerated parent also may need to educate his own attorney. The attorneys for the parents are not always familiar with the legal requirements or with the realities of prisons. And an incarcerated parent needs to realize that and try to inform the attorney, to help the attorney understand how he or she will be best able to advocate for the parent.
My advice would be to really stay consistent, take that process really, really serious, and do everything you have to do. Like, you must go above and beyond.
People like myself and other people fought hard to have this law put in effect so that what happened to us doesn't happen to you. You know, and don't let our work be in vain. No matter what you go through, those are your kids. Like, at the end of the day, those are all you have. You know, they need to know that you're there.